Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Okay, let's start. Yesterday we stopped here. You guys still recall, yesterday we stopped at the marginal cost and marginal revenue part. So we should start right here about the economic problem. What does the economic problem tells you? The economic problem tells you the basic definition of economic. As you recall at the very beginning of this class, of this chapter, when we define economy, we say the economy is investigate and examine how to make the best choice when there is a limited resource. So the economic problem is exactly the same definition as economic. We only have a limit resource, but however, we are greedy. We want unlimited want. So we need to fix this. We need to make the best choice, best decision, and that's the economic problems. In order to solve that, there's a new thing called the budget line. You do need to know what is a budget line, and it's very easy for you to know. The budget line tells you, they give you a basic line and tells you what is attainable and what is unattainable. Let me give you an example right here. If you still recall, on Monday's class, when I gave out the pre-cost survey, do you guys still remember that? The first question I asked you, if you only have $50, you want to buy mask and the hand sanitizer, which one is unattainable? So that is basically asking you the same type of question right here about the budget line. The budget line tells you all the available or attainable combination. So it tells you a 9 right here. So for example, in this example right here, you only have $120. You want to buy either DVD or either books. The DVD costs you $20 per one and the books cost you $10 per one. So if you're using all of your $120 to buy DVD only, you can buy 6. And if you're using all of your $120 to buy books, you can buy 12. So this is the top of these two 9 right here. So you can either buy 6 DVD or 12. So sorry, this should be the 9 like this. This must be 12. So 12 like books. And once you connect this 9, it will give you a budget 9. And anything that is right here in this area on the left side of the budget 9, that's attainable. Everything is on the left side of the budget 9 is attainable. Everything that is right here on the right side, this part, this is non-attainable, unattainable. Okay. So for example, what is attainable? For example, if we buy 3 DVDs, so this is 3, and 6 books. So because it's on the left side of the budget 9, so it's attainable. You see that if we buy 3 DVD and 6 books, we still have enough money to do that. Thus, the budget 9 tells you all the available combination, tells you what would be the best price, what would be the best combination we can get for if you want to buy something, make a choice to do something. So we can also including what would be the opportunity cost. So the question would be like, if you still recall, what is opportunity cost? The opportunity cost is the things you have to give up if you want to make a choice. So for example, if you use all of your $120 to buy DVDs, you only buy DVDs, you can buy 6, right? If you're using all of $120 to buy DVDs, you're using $120 divided by 20, you got 6. So however, if you choose to buy one book, how many, if you want to give up one DVD, how many books you can buy? That's kind of a question you need to know. So you know that every DVD is $20. So if you gave up one DVD, how many books you can buy? Anyone tell me? 2. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so because the price of the DVD is equal to 20, and the price of book is equal to 10. Okay, so in this case, if instead of buying 6 DVDs, you only buy 5 DVDs, which means you have $20 left. Okay, and using those $20, you can buy 2 books. So can we say that 1 DVD is equal to 2 books? Right? Because the money you used to buy 1 DVD is exactly equal to the money you to buy 2 books. So we can say, in order to give up the choice of buying 1 DVD, we actually gave up the opportunity cost to buy two books. That's exactly the same thing. The opportunity cost. You gave up something in order to do something. Okay. So this is exactly one of the very original or very easy type of questions I'm gonna ask you in the exam. I'm gonna give you more practice questions in the following slides. Okay. So the Bargenite tells you what is attainable and what is unattainable. Again, people are greedy, so we have unlimited want. So sometimes we always ask for many things and it's unattainable, which means that makes no sense. We set our goal too high. We want lots of things. Sometimes it will never happen, and that's unattainable. Economy tells you the very science way to make the best choice. I used to talk to my students about these things. If you watch the Game of Thrones, okay, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, okay? So if you watch the Game of Thrones, okay, if you have $15 to build the ultimate squad, very nice ultimate squad. So, and you have the leader, the magic, the strategy, the muscle, the fighter, how can you build your best team? Some people, they will always choose the most powerful one, and that will cost you $5, but you don't have enough money, right? The resource is limited. So how to make the best choice? That's the thing we need to find out, and that's the thing the economic, okay, the economic class trying to teach you using the unlimited resource to make the best decision. Okay, so very hard decision. This is what we're going to learn. This is what we're going to study in this class. And if you still recall, what would be the golden rule? Golden rule, we talk about a lot in last class about the revenue. Let me go back. Okay, this is the only rule. Okay, the golden rule. We only make the good decision when the marginal benefit is larger than the marginal cost. Okay. So 1 second. Let me share. Okay. Share this. Okay, can you see the slides right now? Which slide you are seeing? Okay, so the bar chart shows you what? Okay, you should already see the answer. The bar chart shows you all the possible combination of 2 goods that can be purchased given the limit money income and the price of the product. Okay, so the answer will be B. And here, refer to the bar chart shown in the diagram. If a consumer money income is $20, so what can he do? As I mentioned, this class do not require a lot of calculation questions, but however, you do need to know how to read the figures. You do have to see a lot of figure questions like this type of question, figure or table questions you're gonna see. Okay, so in here, he tells you you only have $20. Which of the combination right here is attainable and which of the combination here is unattainable? Yes, Anna?
D.
D. Okay, let us stop here. Let us go through these things one by one right here. Okay, very let me 1 second. Okay, so first, the price of C and price of D cannot be determined. Can anyone tell me what will be the price of D? Do you know how to do that? What will be the price of D? it already give you enough information. Anyone? How are we gonna to calculate the price for D? So, yes, Adriana?
D costs $2.
$2, that's correct. Okay, so let me explain how we got the price of D is $2, okay? So we only have $20. If we're using all of this money to buy product of D, how many we can buy in this case? It's right here at this point, right? So if we're using all our money to buy product of D, we can buy 10. Okay, so we're using our $20 divided by 10. So our price will be equal to 2. Do you guys understand? Okay. And if we're using all our money to buy the product of C, we are right here. And this is 5. So the price of C, it should be equal $20 divided by 5. So it will be equal to 4. Okay. So the answer of B is wrong because it should be the price of C is $4 and the price of D is equal to $2. Do you guys understand? So in the future, if you see this kind of question again on your exam, the very easy way to determine the price, you just find the top 2 head of the 9. It gives you the quantity. Okay, it gives you the quantity, both of the quantity. And then you're using the price, total revenue divided by the quantity, so you can get the price of the product. Okay. And C, consumer can obtain the combination of 5 units of both C and D. So if we have 5 units of D here, and we have 5 units of C here, so you will see this dot right here is already on the right side of the budget line, which tells you this is unattainable, right? So if we buy 5 units of product D, that costs you $10. If we buy 5 units of product C, that costs you $20. So the total money, it will be equal to $30, which means you don't have enough money. You only have $20. And also, this dot is on the right side of the budget line, so it's totally unattainable. So that's correct, Anna. You answer this question correct. The answer would be D. The price of C is $4 and the price of D is $2. Okay? You guys understand? Great. And here. Refer to the budget line shown on the diagram. Again, the money income is $20, which of both combination is unattainable. So it asks you a very easy questions, which dot is on the right side of the budget line? So in order to do these kind of questions, you just need to, Austin, do you raise your hand if you want that? Go ahead.
Is it A?
Okay, is it A? Yes, the answer is A, correct. Okay, so in order to do these kind of questions, once again, you just need to connect all the dots. And if you find the dot is on the right side of the budget line, then it's unattainable. If it's on the left side or it's along the budget line, then it's totally available, attainable, okay? So here, 4 units of C and 6 units of D. So if we draw a straight line here and 4 units of C here, oh, I'm sorry, my drawing is so bad. So you will see this is on the right side of the budget line, so it's already unattainable. You see other things like 5 units of C and no unit of D, so it will be right here. So it will be on the left side. 1 unit of C and A unit, 1 unit of C or 1 unit of C and A unit of D, it will be right here, still on the left side. Okay, and 2 units of D and 6 units of C will be right here. So it's still on the left side of the budget line. So the only one that is on the right side of the budget line is A. So the answer will be A. Okay. So you will see this kind of question again on your exam. You're probably gonna see some of these kind of questions on your homework. Okay, very, very easy. Okay. And In order to solve our economic problem, because we say we only have a limited resource, So what type of resource we are talking about in economy is we have 4 categories of the resource. The first 3 categories you should be already know, okay? The land, the labor, the capital. The lands normally talk about natural resource. For example, if you want to build a house, you do have a land. Labor means human resource. If you want to producing something, you have to hire some employee to work for you. And capital means you need some money to start your company, okay? Everything needs to have some start-up monies. So the first 3 categories should be already very easy. The next one, and if you're in your leadership class, you should be know the entrepreneurial ability is the new type of economic resource. Compared to human resource, this is a little bit different. Whenever we talk about labor, some of my previous students, they may ask, what's the difference between labor and entrepreneurial ability? Labor means if you're alive, you are a labor, okay? You can do some maybe pure labor things. You can move something, doing something that everybody can do. That's what we call labor, okay? However, the entrepreneurial ability is totally different. This is a skill or what we call a talent that people need. So that's why, in Hollins, we're trying to build up a female leader that changes the world in the future. I do hope you guys have become very successful, in the future as a successful businesswoman. So you need to prepare to, to get your entrepreneurial ability. So what is entrepreneurial ability? Let's go to our next slide. Okay. So the entrepreneurial ability basically tell you need to make decisions. You need to using all the other resource to do something. For example, the entrepreneurs, okay, the successful businessman, if you want to say in another way, it implies other factor of the production. So the entrepreneur, they put land, labor, and capital together and produce something. And it take initiative. The entrepreneur is a doer, is an endeavor. They want to do something, and they are very focused on it. And it makes strategy of a business decisions. This is actually very important. The business decision is very important. If you're taking the managerial accounting right now, we are always talk about how to make a decision. And the most important part for entrepreneur is innovate. Okay, you need to remember this. This is important. If I asking you the question on the exam, I say what will be the most important characteristic of entrepreneur? You need to choose the answer of innovate. Okay, innovate is one of the biggest successful factor that will let the business to earn a lot of profit. Innovate. Just imagine if several years ago, if Steve Jobs did not establish the first phone without keyboard, people will not enter to the smartphone business. And if you imagine that, another innovation I would like to talk about maybe the coil-free vacuum, because I'm a huge fan of that, like Dyson vacuum. Okay, so you can using a Dyson vacuum, very, very handy. You don't need to have a coil with you to innovate. Okay, so once again, the most important characteristic for you to know for entrepreneur is to innovate. And of course, you need to take a risk too. We're gonna spend some time to talk about the risks, okay, in the future. Okay, if you take in the macroeconomy or if you want to take the corporate finance class. The corporate finance class spend a lot of time how a company to measure the risks. But however, in this slide or in this chapter, the only thing I would like you to do to remember is entrepreneur is a type of human ability. Okay, pretty much we talk about leadership or those kind of things. They employ other factor, land, okay, capital, okay, those things, and they take initiative. The most important characteristic of entrepreneur is to innovate. That's all I need you to know for this slide, okay? And the PPM model here, the production possibility model. This is how to say, it's pretty much like the bargain knife. if you still remember, the project line is a straight line. But however, the product possibility model is like the project line. It gave you, say, we only have enough money. We want to buy two products, okay? The consumer product and the capital goods. And if we connect all the line together, it will give you a curve. For example, we only have enough money. We want to producing pizza or robot. So how many things we can produce, and we connect these things, it give you a curve instead of a line. So the major thing that the difference between the PPM model, the product possibility model, and the budget line is the budget line is a straight line. But however, the product possibility graph or product possibility model is a curve. Okay, but the same decision is using for both of these things is on the right side of the curve or line is unattainable. On the left side of the curve of line is attainable. So they're basically telling you the same thing. Okay. And here. So increase of the opportunity cost. The law of increased opportunity cost, as more of the particular good is produced, the marginal opportunity cost is going to increase. This may sound a little bit, how to say, hard to understand right now, but you are not required to understand these things right now. We're going to talk about demand and supply on chapter 3. We're going to spend a major time, say, how to calculate the opportunity cost during that time. And we're going to spend some time to explain why the law of increased opportunity cost on that. So you're going to see this on chapter 3 majorly. So you don't need to worry about this thing right now. So that's why I didn't highlight it. And the product possibility curve, as I mentioned, this is pretty much like the budget line. Okay, exactly the same thing about the budget line. So here, this is a little bit hard, as I mentioned. In this class, you don't need to have a very strong mathematical background. The calculation question will be very easy. But however, you do need to know how to read the figure and tables. So you're going to know how to do these kind of questions. So reverse the graph. Assume that the pizza is measured in slice and beer is measured in pint. In which of the graph is the opportunity cost of the beer is equal to the pizza? It's a little bit hard, but I teach you how to do that before. Okay, so in here, because it did not give you what income you have, so we just assume. Okay, we just assume. For example, we assume we have $20. Okay, once again, we assume we only have $20. So for choice A here, if we're using all of $20 to buy pizza, the pizza price is equal to 20 divided by 8, so it's equal to like 2.5. Okay, so $2.5. And if we're using all of the money to buy beer, we're using 20 divided by 5, we got 4. Okay, so you will see the price of the pizza is not exactly equal to the price of the beer. So we can say that it's not, okay, the opportunity cost is not the same. Let me directly tell you the answer. The answer is D. Why is that? It's because the price of the pizza is exactly equal to the price of beer. Okay, which means in order to buy one more beer, you have to give up one pizza. So that means the opportunity cost for pizza and beer is exactly the same. Why we get the price of pizza is exactly equal to the beer? Because if we're using all of the money to buy pizza, we can get 10. If we're using all of the money to buy beer, we can get 10. The quantity is the same and the revenue is the same, then the price should be the same, right? You guys understand? Okay. Okay, next. Okay. Suppose Julia received a $20 gift card for a local coffee shop where she can only buy muffins or lattes. The price of lattes is $4 and the price of muffin is $2. So we can conclude that Julia should do what? Asking you a very basic budget line questions. Anyone? Yes, Naomi.
C.
Which one?
C.
C. That's correct. Okay, that's correct. So it's asking you a very basic bargain night questions. You only have $20 and one product is $4 and one product is $2. So if we're using all of the money to buy lattes, we can buy 5. If we're using all of the dollar to buy muffins, we can buy 10. So the answer C here is exactly what does it say? It says you can buy 5 lattes or 10 muffins if she chooses to only buy one product. And A and B here, this is not very correct because who can decide she should only do something because she have the money, she can decide to buy either of the product. So A and B are wrong. And D here can buy 5 latte and 10 muffins. So they definitely do not have enough money. If they want to buy 5 latte and 10 muffins at the same time, it will cost her $40. So she do not have enough money. Okay, should be very easy. Answer would be C. Okay. Which of the following is a labor resource? Labor resource. Yes, Chloe. I think.
A.
Okay, yeah, the answer will be A. Okay. Once again, the labor resource, we are talking about human resource. So in all this choice right here, the only one is a human. I think it is A. Okay, computer is not a labor resource. Like silicon is not a human resource also. The software is also not a human resource. So this should be very, very easy. Here, this should be very easy. The main function of entrepreneur is to what? Is to innovate. I say these things many times. Okay, innovate. Okay, to make an innovation. Money is not an economic resource because, so this is a little bit tricky. Money is not an economic resource because. Yes, Anna. I think Anna, yeah.
A.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So once again, whenever we talk about resource, we are talking about we can using that thing to produce something. We can use that thing to produce something. But however, money cannot produce anything. My previous student, they always say money can produce happiness. But that thing is not a product. So you cannot say, okay, I made something with money. Okay, you cannot say I use money itself. Money is just a paper. You cannot produce something. Money can only use as a tool of the trade. Okay, so it did not produce anything. So answer would be A. Okay. And this. Okay, this we already talked about this. So that will be all for chapter. 1 second. That will be all for chapter 1. Let me go through chapter 1 one more time so you know what you need to know for chapter 1. Chapter 1. So let's do a very quick review of what you need to know about chapter 1. Chapter 1 is a very basic review of what is economic. So you do need to know several definitions. For example, what's the definition of economic? Okay, economic is the same thing like the economic problem. We need to make the best choice using the limited resource. So that's economic. And the other thing you need to know is what is opportunity cost? Okay, the answer, or what is opportunity cost? Okay, what is utility? Utility means pleasure and satisfaction. Okay, and the one and the only golden rule: the marginal benefit larger than marginal cost. Okay, you need to know that. And the next, you need to know what's the difference between micro and macroeconomic. What's the difference between the positive economy and normative economy? Okay, and you do need to know what would be the bargain night. Okay, the bargain night, how to read the bargain night, if we only give you the bargain night, how are you able to calculate the price of the product? Like this question right here. If we only give you the bargain night, how are you able to calculate the price of the product? Okay. and you do need to know what would be the key, okay, characteristic of the entrepreneurial, okay, the entrepreneurial economic resource. So I think that would be all for this chapter. The first chapter just give you a very basic definition, introduction of the economics. We're going to study chapter 2 today. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but chapter 2 is also a very easy chapter, so we just only going to go through that. The majority part of your first midterm will be, the part that is important is in chapter 3, when we talk about demand and supplies, okay? Okay, so in this chapter, we're going to introduce the market system and the circular flow model. And you're going to see a lot of questions that is related to the circular flow model. The circular flow model will just give you a big picture. And I'm going to ask you to fill out the points, okay? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to test you about the circular flow model, okay? This should be very, very easy. So, first, let's introduce what is the market systems. The market system is also called the economic systems. The economic systems are a set of institutional arrangement and a coordinating mechanism to solve the economic problem. We just talked about the economic problem to make the best choice, okay? And the economic system is we using a set of institutional arrangement, okay? For example, government control or the market control, and a coordinated mechanism, for example, tax, okay, like those kind of things, to solve for the economic problems. So in here, the first thing you need to know is what is economic systems. And there are several types of economic systems, and we're going to spend some majority time to talk about economic systems. Share this. So there's different type of economic system. It exists because of the degree of the decentralized using the market and the price in decision making, and the degree of the decentralized of the government control. And the majority, the major thing that actually determine the economic system is the degree of the government control. And we're going to talk about why the government control is the key thing to tell whether there's different economic systems. So we're going to talk about 3 very important, okay, economic systems. The first one is called what we call laissez-faire capitalism. I don't know whether I spell these things correct, but this is French. Okay, laissez-faire in French means idea, means dream. Okay, so it's called the dream, the idea economic. What does that tell you? It tells you the government has no control at all. So you do need to know what is the characteristic of the laissez-faire capitalism. Whenever you see these things, it means the government do not control the market at all. Okay, the government cannot control it, cannot put like tax policy, those things on the economy. Everything in the economy, the government have no control. The government just there to prepare to make sure the market is safe. Okay, so that's the only thing. The power of the government just need to protect the property from the theft and provide a legal environment from contract, the enforcement. Okay, and the company, the consumers, the customer are interact in the market to buy or sell. The government cannot control anything. They cannot control the price. They cannot control the tax. They cannot control the barrier in order to enter the market. So laissez-faire is idea economy. So government have zero control. Once again, zero control. So can I ask you, do you think this laissez-faire capitalism exists nowadays? Do you think these things exist nowadays? Of course not, right? This is too good to be true, okay? So of course, no, it's too good to be true. The only one country in my head is a little bit close to laissez-faire capitalism. It may be Singapore, in my opinion. Where Singapore do not have a lot of, heavy policy, those kind of things. It's a totally free trade country. So that's the only one, okay? Only one, maybe, but it's not totally laissez-faire, okay? The government still have some control, okay? And the next one is the most notorious, the most hated one. It's called the command system, okay? What does the command system? Command system is also known as the socialism or communalism, okay? And the command system means the government owns everything, owns all the resource, which means the government owns the human resource, which means the government also owns you, okay? So the government basically controls everything. And the decision is made by the central planning board, which means it's made by the king or either the chief of the government. And there's only 3 countries left, believe it or not, nowadays there's still 3 countries left. Okay, North Korea, Cuba, and Myanmar. I don't know whether you guys been to North Korea before, but please do not go there. That's a very, how to say, I get my bachelor degree in a city near Beijing, and Beijing is very close to, very close to North Korea. It only take me like 3 hours on train to go to North Korea. So in one of the summer during my bachelor degree time, undergraduate time, I planned to go there to play, and it's so boring. Oh my God, it's so boring. You know that the whole country only have 1 TV channel. The whole country only have 1 TV channel. So, and that TV channel all the day just worship how great is their president, how great is their leader. And all the foreigners, whenever you go there, you cannot leave your hotel after 10 o'clock in the evening. It's pretty much you have no freedom at all. I don't know whether you guys heard a story about a young American people, a UVA student, you know that? A UVA student who go to North Korea 5 years ago. I think his name is what I forgot. But anyway, he do something very stupid. He took one of the picture in the hotel. That picture is their leader's picture. So that Kim Jong-un, his father's picture. So he took that picture, and the government, actually arrest him for spy. And the United States government actually spent a lot of time and money to get him back to the United States. But he was tortured so badly, and once he come back, he become brain dead, because they tortured him so badly. But anyway, that's a very sad story. So I mean, I can't believe nowadays it still have this kind of country using this command system, like North Korea, Cuba, and Myanmar. So this is the command economy. This is the 4 top, evil leaders. Some of my previous students or former students, they ask me, they still think China, because I'm from China, so they like to ask questions like China. They think China is still a community system, but actually China opened their door in 1978. So now their market system, the government do not have that much of control. It still have some control, but it's not that much of control. The government still own majority of the resource, but they cannot control, they cannot make you to make decision. So for example, the major difference about China and United States about the government owned resources, in here, if you buy a house, that house belongs to you forever, right? You buy a land, that land belongs to you forever. Okay, you can pass to your children, to your grandchildren. And in China, if you buy a house and buy an apartment, that's only for 70 years. After 70 years, if you do not renew, it's go back to the government again. So, so that means the government owns all the resources, including the land. Okay. Anyway, the command system just tells you that the government owns everything, which is actually, in my opinion, I think it's very stupid. Okay. And you don't need to worry about this. I'm not going to test you anything from here. This is, it's just one of the type. Okay. So there's 2 extremely type of system. The first one is too good to be true. The second one is too bad. It's really bad. The government owns everything. So the best system is actually have a both of each. Okay, so the demise of the command system was a failure. Okay, so for example, Soviet Union, Eastern Europe Union, and China, they both failed their command systems. The coordinate problem is they set output target for all goods. So the government, the country basically set up a goal for all the products. I still remember when I heard from my grandparents, they talk about when China is still in a command system, they say the government will give them a goal. So for example, during that time, my grandparents, they are all farmers. They say, you have to producing how many tons of this product each year, no matter what. So that's kind of, you just set a target, So no matter what, you have to do that. And the incentive problem is there's no adjustment for surplus and shortage. We're gonna spend a major time to talk about surplus and shortage. This is actually very important. Surplus means the demand is larger than supplies. And shortage means, the surplus means the supply is larger than demand. And shortage means the demand is larger than supply. We're gonna spend a lot of time talking about these things in chapter 3 again, but you don't need to worry about anything from here. I'm not gonna test you that, okay? So next, so this is the things we're going to text you. I like to text you is, okay, what is the market system? Okay, market system. The market system is a mix of both. A mix of the decentralizing decision making with some government control. So government do have some control, but it did not have a lot of controls. And nowadays, most of the world, they are actually all market system except that 3 command system countries. And the private market are the dominant force. The private ownership of all resource. The government did not own a lot of resource. The private ownership, most of the resource owned by the private people, individual or private companies. And people doing these things because they are self-interest behavior, because they want to achieve utility. So once again, in these slides, the things I'm gonna text you is, you do need to know what is the market system. Sorry. Okay, what is the market system? Okay, so it's a mix of both. It's a mix of decentralized decision and with some, a little bit, some government control. Okay. So the characteristic of the market system, I'm not going to test you anything from here, so you don't need to worry about anything from here. What is the market characteristic of the market system? For example, the private property means the private individual, the citizen, the company own most of the private property resource of land and capital. This is pretty much happening in United States right now. United States, most of the private people or private company, they own lands. Talk about lands, that years ago when Walt Disney buy those lands in Florida, okay, it's very cheap and it's owned by the company, and that's why how Walt Disney can build the Disney World over there, because that land is owned by him, owned by the company. He can build whatever they want on that land. So private property is the major characteristic of the market systems. And the freedom of the enterprise tells you that the entrepreneur or the businessman, they have the freedom to use all of the resource, and they can use this resource to produce any product or service they want. Okay, so they can do whatever they want once they have the resource. But however, as I mentioned, in some country, some people, some company, they are not allowed to do a lot of things. So for example, in China, normal individual company, you are not allowed to build up a gas station. The gas is run by the government. All the gas station is run by the government, so you are not do that. But however, in the market system, the freedom of enterprise means the company can do all the things, can do a lot of things they want to do. And like freedom of choice means the owner of the property and the resource can use the resource as they choose. And self-interest, we talked about these things before, because they want to achieve utilities. And competitions, we're going to spend some time to talk about competition when we talk about market model in chapter 8 and chapter 10, when we talk about pure competition and monopoly. Okay? So once again, I'm not going to test you anything from here. You don't need to worry about that. the majority things I'm going to asking you about market system, I'm only going to asking you the definition of the market system. So that's why I need you to understand, okay? So in order to find out whether the country or whether the place, the people, the one area is have a market system or not, the best way to tell is to check their economic freedom. Okay, the most free economic, okay, which means the government do not have a control at all. So you see here, the top 3 or the most free economic freedom is Hong Kong, New Zealand, and Switzerland. And of course, North Korea is the worst one, okay, because it's a command system, which means they do not have a lot of economic freedom over there. Last year, my former student, they asked me some questions about Hong Kong, like what happened in Hong Kong right now. So what happened exactly in Hong Kong right now is, you know, the Chinese government want to give more control of the market. So that's why you will see this figure will gonna change. Actually, Hong Kong, this economic freedom will be decreased soon because the Chinese government try to control the market a little bit. But anyway, you don't need to worry about this thing. This is just a way. If you want to do some research about like economic freedom or market system, you can go to check the economic freedom. These things, okay? So here, this is a picture about North Korea, okay? So this is South Korea. South Korea is actually a lovely place. I love to go there, okay? The people are nice. The only thing I can complain because is their food is not that good. They like to eat kimchi a lot. But anyway, and the North Korea, you see, there's only one capital over there. The capital there is they have light. This is in the night, okay? This is taken by the satellite, okay? And this is actually Hong Kong. My hometown is called Canton. It's just like half-hour drive from Hong Kong. So I go to Hong Kong every summer because they have a huge sale every summer. They don't have tax at all. So this is Hong Kong. And I don't know, do you guys watch a movie called Argo? This is actually a very nice movie. They actually win the Oscar, you know, Oscar Best Production of the movie during that year. It's Argo. It's talk about real situation that happening when a CIA 6 United States diplomat in Iran at that time. And this movie is very intense. It tells you what would be the difference between the United States and Iran. During that time, Iran is considered as a command system, and command system, and United States is a market system. So you can tell the difference between what will be the government control over there and what will be the government control here in United States. So again, once again, just a movie. If you are interested in these things, you are welcome to check this movie. And this movie is, you know, act by my favorite Batman. I really like him. But anyway, you can go to check it. Okay. Okay. I don't think we're gonna spend a lot of time to talk about technology and capital goods. We actually gonna spend some time to talk about technology. Why technology is very important for the monopoly companies. Okay, once again, if you still recall during our Monday's class, if you know that monopoly means what? Monopoly means there's only one company that's selling that product. Only one company that's selling that product. So which means that company have the very unique technology. So technology is very important for monopoly market model. And we're gonna spend a majority of the time to go through the monopoly. Can anyone tell me, give me an example of a monopoly company right now in the United States or in the whole world? Anyone?
Apple.
Apple is not monopoly. If you talk about Apple product, Apple is producing phones, right? It's not like, you can say Apple is the only company that producing Apple, iPhone, that's a little bit close. But however, iPhone is not very unique, in my opinion. It's not unique. Okay, you're using an Android phone, give you the same type of function. So Apple is actually what we call oligopoly. Oligopoly means there's several huge sellers. So Apple, you can say is close to monopoly, but it's not exactly like monopoly. Anyone? About monopoly? let me give you some example about monopoly and about technology. So for example, 5 years ago, if we talk about electricity car, there's only one company that sells the electricity car. Which company is that? Tesla, right? If you know Tesla, okay? So during that time, because of the patent, because of their technology of battery, okay, if you know that, that's the key thing for Tesla to success, because they have a very fancy technology of the battery, so they can run the car, electricity car, for 400 miles. And after that, the patent, the patent is only lasts for like 10 years or 20 years, and other company learn how to do that. And right now, I think the most company that is considered as monopoly, if I don't know, do you know there's a coffee machine called Keurig? Keurig, right? Keurig is the only coffee machine you can get that can use in the K-cup, right? So that's pretty much monopoly, because it's monopoly for the K-cup, okay? And if we want to do that, you can buy the Nespresso machine. They still using that capsule, and that's the only machine that using that kind of capsule. So it's kind of monopoly. But once again, that's when we talk about technology. So technology is actually very, very important for the monopoly companies. Okay, we're gonna spend some time during that chapter. Then we are not gonna spend some time right now. Okay. And the use of money, we talk about money is not a resource, because money itself did not produce anything. So money just a medium of exchange. Okay, we also gonna spend some time to talk about money in the future, but not on this slide, not on this chapter. So you don't need to worry about these things. Okay. So here, this is the 5 fundamental questions all the economic student or all the business student they need to ask, okay, when they need to solve the economic problems. So what product and goods, okay, should the company to produce? And how will the product and goods be produced? And who will get the goods and service? Who will be the consumer? Who will be the customers? And how will the system accommodate the change? And how will the system promote the progress? So this is the 5 fundamental questions we're going to talk about for each market system and for each market models. So for example, we're going to spend a majority of time to talk about what type of product should a pure competition market model produce? What type of product should be an oligopoly market model to produce? What type of product should a monopoly company to produce? So this is the 5 fundamental questions. Okay, what product, what's your customer, how are we going to produce those things? So this is the 5 fundamental questions. So for example, what will be produced? The goods and service for the company, they will always want to achieve utility. What's the utility for companies? That's the product or service that will bring profit. Okay, so we have a definition called the consumer sovereignty, which means the customer actually make the decision to choose the product. Okay, the power of the consumer to determine what is the goods and service are produced. But right now, again, I want to go back to my cell phone example again. Right now, if I ask you to go to using a keyboard cell phone, you are not going to use that right now, right? Because you already get used to the smartphones, okay? And dollar votes means the method for consumer determine which good and produce and determine what will be the price, which industry is going to survive and which industry is going to fail. Okay, so this is actually very important. However, we're going to talk about detail of these things for each of the market model, okay? So the example like this, so compared to Nokia, so I actually owned one of the Nokia like this before when I was in high school. I don't think you guys own this kind, but compared to smartphone, no one will gonna using this kind of phone anymore, okay? And old film camera compared to the digital camera, okay? And like the switch, okay? Actually spend a lot of time. I want to buy a switch, it's out of stock for a long time due to the pandemic. But anyway, so it just tells you how the customer decide what product gonna be success, okay? And how will the goods to be produced? And again, let's talk about technology and the necessary resource. We're going to talk about the detail of each of these things in the following chapters. So I'm not going to spend more time right now. You don't need to worry about these things. So here, this is the most important thing for this whole chapter. So now, this is important, okay? The circular flow model, very important, okay? Most of the question for this chapter will come from this part about the circular flow model. In the circular flow model, it gives you a big picture. A diagram tells you what's the interaction between company and household, and how the company get the resource and how the household buy the resource. So first, you do need to know for the circular flow model, there's two parts. The first one is the household. This is the individual. This is the citizen. This is the people. Okay, this is the people. Okay, and business is the companies. Okay, it's the company that sell product. I'm sorry, I don't know how to draw that. But anyway, so this is the company. And for the business, there's three types of business. First is the sole proprietorship. Second is partnership, and C is corporation. The sole proprietorship means there's only one owner. The partnership, which means there's more than two owners. And corporation, which means the customer, the investor who owns the stock, own the company. And there's two markets, means the product market and the resource market. So the key thing for you need to know, okay, there's four very important parts for the circular flow model. There's two type of people, or two type of group, the household and business. And there's two type of market, the product market and the resource market. Okay, once you know that, let's jump to the next slide. Okay, so this is the major picture you need to know how to do. So very important, okay, the circular flow model. On your exam, each of these arrows are going to tell you what does this arrow tells you. Sometimes I will block some, for example, I will block some numbers, but I will only give you a blank block and ask you to fill out the block. What does this block tells you? What is this block? So you make sure you understand. Once again, so let's go through this figure very, very detailedly. There's two type of people or two type of group. The first one is household. The household are individual. This is people. Okay, again, people. Okay, so people, what does the people do? People, they're going to sell the resource on the resource market. So as we mentioned before, in the market system, all the resources owned by the private resource. So the people, the household, they own all the resource. Okay, so the household, they're going to sell the resource on the resource market. And what are the resources the household selling is right here. So once again, household, the interaction between household and resource market is household sell resource on the resource market. And the resources are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. This sounds familiar, right? This is the economic resource, okay? So the household sell the economic resource on the resource market. And how the resource market is going to pay back for the household, and that's this arrow. Okay, so this arrow stand for, this yellow arrow stand for, okay? So how the resource market is going to pay for the household is they pay for rent, wage, interest, and profit. Okay, so there's two interaction, okay, happening between household and resource market. Is household sell resource on the resource market, and the resource market, they're going to pay back household by using their resource. Okay, the way they pay back the household is the rent, wage, and interest and profit. Okay, so that's for household and resource market. And on the other side, the business means companies. Means the company that sell product, they produce things. The business, they do not have a resource at the first beginning. They need to buy resource from the resource market. So they buy all the economic resource from the resource market. So they buy the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur from the resource market. And in order to buy that, they need to pay money for that on the resource market. So this is the cost for the company. Okay, so the two interaction between company and the resource market is the company gonna to buy resource from the resource market, and it's gonna cost the company some money to buy the resource. This should be very, very easy, right? So you do need to know what's the interaction between household and resource market, and what's the interaction between business and resource market. So if I asking you a question like this in the future on the exam, I give you this kind of figure, I tells you what's the interaction between the household and resource market. You need to know that is the household sell resource on the resource market. And what's the interaction between business and the resource market? You need to know that it's the business who buy the resource from the resource market. Okay? And once you know that, the next one, once the business have a resource, they can using the resource they have, the land, the labor, and the capital. So they can produce product or they can produce service. So they're going to sell the product or the service they have on the product market because the business want to make profit, right? So they're going to sell the product and service on the product market. Okay, so once again, the business sell product on the product market. And how the product market going to pay back for the business? They're going to generate revenue by selling all the product and service on the product market. And household on the other side, once you have salary, you have income, you're going to buy product and you're going to buy the service. Where to buy that? You're going to buy it from the product market. So the household buy goods and service from the product market and using its income, or in other way we call is the consumption expenditure to buy things from the product market. Okay, so it's all circle up. Okay, it's all circle up. This is the full circular flow model. You do need to know what does these things tells you. Where does the household sell resource? Where does the household buy products? How can the business get resource? How can the business sell products? Okay, and you do need to know what does this arrow stand for. For example, arrow A, arrow B, arrow C, arrow D, E, F, G, H. Okay, so on your exam, you're gonna see a lot of questions. Trust me, a lot of questions from this picture alone. So make sure that you remember this circular flow diagram. Okay, it should be very easy. Okay, so the question would be like this. Okay, should be very slow. For example, right now. Okay. Refer to the diagram. Follow one stand for what? So follow one is this red line. Yes, Naomi.
C, goods and services.
Nope. Yes, Adriana.
A.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. So once again, this is actually very important. So you see, it's a little bit confused for you to know, or for you to do if you do not remember the circular flow model. Okay. So follow one is from business through resource market to household. So you do need to know the flow. It's from business through resource market and to household. Okay, so it's from business, how the business through resource market to household. Okay, so if we go back to what we learned before, it's through business, through resource market to household. So it's this blue, let me draw these things. So it's this big blue line. Okay, so it tells you, it asking you, what can household get from the business through resource market? So let's go back there. So the answer should be what? Now you can tell me, right? In this case, what's flow one? again, let's go back here. So how can a household, what household get from the business through the resource market? So once again, you need to know. So this is from the business to household, okay? So it's from the business to household through the resource market. What does the business do with the resource market? It's business buy something from the resource market. So what does the business give to the resource market? You give money to the resource market, right? You give cost to the resource market. And the resource market is where the household sell resource. And how the household get paid by selling the resource is the wage, rent, interest, and profitable income. Okay, so the answer for this one is A. Okay, once again, flow 1 asking you what does the business give to household through resource market. So business buy resource from the resource market, so they're going to pay for it. And the resource market pay for the household is the wage, rent, interest, and profitable income. So it's right here. So you see the blue arrow right here. So these two things, the rent, wage, and interest profit is exactly equal to the cost. Okay, these two things is the same amount. Okay, you guys understand? Do you understand? Okay. So and the next one. So what does flow 2 represent? So flow 2 is what does the household give to business through the resource market? This should be easy, right? Yes, Madison. Madison?
They give land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurial ability, so B.
Yes, that's correct. So once again, the household sell their resource on the resource market, and then the resource market sell to the business. So this blue line here, from household to business, this flow 2, it stands for all the economic resource, and all the economic resource stand for land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurial ability. Okay, do you guys understand? Okay. The next one is flow 3 stand for what? Flow 3 is what does the business provide to the household? We only have 2 chances left. Okay, yeah, Anna, go ahead.
C.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so it stands for goods and service. So once the business have resource, they're going to produce goods and service and sell on the product market, and the household buy those things from the product market. Okay, and that left us our last flow. Okay, flow 4 is how the customer, the household, buy for the product and service from the business, and what we left is only D, is the consumer expenditure. Okay, you guys understand? And here, in terms of a circular flow diagram, household make expenditure in what market and receive income through what market? This will be very easy. Yes, Catherine.
Is it C?
Okay, so yes. So the household gonna buy something in the product market and sell something on the resource market in order to receive income. So good job, Catherine. Okay. And here, okay, this is a little bit tricky. So this is a higher level questions. As you see, they only give you business and household. They did not give you market anymore. So you do need to know how to do this kind of questions. So as I say, you're gonna see a lot of bigger questions. So please make sure you prepare, you know how to do these things. So refer to the diagram. Arrow 1 and arrow 2 stand for what? Arrow 1 stand for what does the household sell to the business. Arrow 2 stand for what does the business sell for the household. Yes, Anna again.
D.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. So once again, arrow 1 stands for what does the household sell for the business. Okay, what does the household go to the business? And that's the resource, okay, the resource. So in here, if we want to draw a picture here, so this should be the resource market. And if we want to draw a picture here, this should be the product market, okay? So the household sell resource to the business and the business sell product for the household, okay? So the answer will be D, correct? And arrow 3 and arrow 4 stand for what? So how the business pay for the household and how for the household pay for the business. Okay, this should be easy too. The answer should be D. Okay, so the business pay the income for household and household pay the consumer expenditure for the business. Okay, you guys understand? Okay, so that will be all for chapter 2. As I mentioned, for chapter 2, for chapter 2, all you need to know is you need to know what is the characteristic of market system. That's the only thing I need to ask you to know for market system. So right here is a mix of decentralized decision and with some government control. Not a lot of government control, some government control. And all the questions I'm gonna ask is right here about the circular flow model. Okay? So that will all for chapter 1 and chapter 2. On your Friday's class, you're gonna see your first quiz. Okay, once again, your quiz will not hurt your grade, okay? The quiz is count as extra credit. You can open book, open note, I don't care, okay? So in the first 20 minutes of the class on your Friday's class, I'm gonna post a quiz online. So make sure you spend some time to do the quiz. And once you finish the quiz, make sure you send your answers to me via email, okay? Email, okay? And then after you finish your quiz, we're going to spend some time to go through each question on the quiz, okay? And all the questions that show on the quiz is pretty much the same type of question that show on the midterm. So please make sure that you at least prepare a little bit for the quiz, even though I know it's extra credit, but I don't want you to, you know, end up very bad on it. Okay, so go back to study chapter 1 and chapter 2. We don't have a homework right now. I think, let me see. We won't have a, let me see. It do say we will have a homework about chapter 1 and 2, but anyway, we will have a quiz, so we don't have a homework. I don't want to give a lot of pressure to you on the very beginning of the semester, so no homework for this week. Probably we will have first homework after we cover chapter 3. But anyway, make sure that you study for chapter 1 and chapter 2. Your first quiz is on this Friday, okay? And once again, I will post that on Moodle. Feel free to, you know, do that, and make sure that you send your answers to me via email. Okay, so that will be all for today. Yes, yeah, Kinda, you will have some questions.
Okay, so we don't Zoom on Friday, we just do the quiz, is that right?
For
we
the
do Zoom
first
on Friday.
20 minutes, we don't Zoom. Okay, I will open the room, but you probably won't gonna hear me talking and something like that. And then after 20 minutes, and then I will open Zoom because I will go through all the questions. So make sure that you only have 20 minutes, okay? Once again, you only have 20 minutes to do the quiz. You should have plenty more time to do the quiz. The quiz will be only multiple choice questions, okay? So make sure you spend some time to do that. After 20 minutes, I will open Zoom. I will open my camera. I will begin talking. I will begin to go through each questions one by one, okay? Any other questions? Yes, Austin.
I just got kicked off because of my internet, so I did not hear anything you just said. I apologize.
It's okay, yeah. So we're gonna have the first quiz on Friday.
Okay.
Okay, and the first 20 minutes of the class, I'm gonna post the quiz on Moodle. So you're gonna do your quiz by yourself. Okay, I will open Zoom, but I won't be talking. So feel free to not join the Zoom at that time. But after 20 minutes, I will open Zoom and I will keep talking. I will going through all the questions. Okay.
I thought we didn't have class on Friday.
We don't have class on Friday? Really?
I don't think so. I don't
know that.
Yeah, this is Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my God. I messed up. I'm sorry. I was thinking about my earlier morning class. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was a little confused.
I'm stupid. And anyway, I'm sorry. Then your first quiz will be on next Monday. I'm sorry. Yeah, next Monday, not this Friday. Okay, good news. Okay, I do hope and you guys have a very great weekend. The rest of your week. I will see you on next Monday. Okay.
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 So the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, first 10 minutes. Yes.
So the first 20 minutes on Monday, we just take the quiz and then we get on Zoom.
Yes. And then after you send me the
and
answers,
it's on.
I will go through that. Yes, Lizzie, you
Is
have
it on chapter
questions?
1 and 2?
What?
Is it on chapter 1 and 2?
Chapter 1 and 2, yes.
And where are we supposed to write our answers?
You just directly send the answer to my email. For example, AABCCD, and to my email. You know.
So we just type the answers on the
type
email.
the answer should be fine. Yes. It will be all the multiple choice questions. Just type your answer to me.
Okay.
Any other questions? No, then that will be all for today. I see you next Monday. Yeah. Sorry to freak you out on Friday things. Bye bye.
Okay.